Hey, welcome to Outsmart Your Guitar. Glad you could join us. Today is part 7 in Early Help in Your Soloing Abilities. We're going to continue the series with part 3 in how to build progressions so that you can practice specific scales. All right, so let's just get right to it and be sure to like and subscribe to Outsmart Your Guitar along the way. In order to practice scales, you need progressions. So here is the first progression. We have an E minor 7, and we have a B minor 7, and an A. Now, don't be fooled thinking that we're in the key of E minor. In point of fact, we are not. We're in the key of A, and I'll get to that momentarily. The strum pattern is pretty straightforward. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, you can go 4 and, you can chicka that, or you can just mute it and let it be silent. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, like that. It's up to you. I kind of move between the two of them depending on what my picking hand feels is appropriate in the moment. So let me play through this to demonstrate it. 3, 4, 1, 2, 4. So you can hear how the motion harmonically of the chords seems to point back to A. And that's exactly the point. A progression does not have to be starting on the 1 chord. Here, we're starting on the 5, moving to the 2, and then back to the 1. Now, you may have heard of the 2-5-1 progression. Right? Well, I'm just doing a variation on that, 5-2-1 instead of 2-5-1. It's up to you. But for the sake of demonstration, we're going to be using this particular progression starting on the 5 chord. As you notice, in the 2-5-1, it starts on the 2 chord. All right. So what I want you to do is pause, learn this, get it down, smooth it out, put it to a metronome, then record it into your looper at a nice, comfortable tempo that you feel good soloing at. Let's break down the Mixolydian mode in the key of A. What are the notes of the scale? Well, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, and G. And then we just continue the same thing. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, and G, back to A, right? Now, the chords have to be built out of notes of the scale. So let's look at the first chord of the progression. E minor 7. It's the 5 chord of the progression. And the 1 of the E minor 7 is an E, right? So the spelling of a minor 7 is 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. So we have a 1, 5, flat 7, flat 3, and another 5. So in essence, the notes we have are E, B, D, and G, with another B happening here. So we got 2 Bs. And so those notes are right there in the scale. We have an E, yep, check, B, check, D, check, G, check, and we know the B is in there already. So, right? There you have it. E minor 7 is compatible with the Mixolydian mode in the key of A. The second chord is B minor 7. That's the 2 chord. Now, again, it's a minor 7, so 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7 is the spelling. So we have a 1, a flat 7, flat 3, and a 5, and yet another 1. So, B, A, D, F sharp. Well, all those notes are present. So, the B minor 7 is compatible with the notes of the Mixolydian mode. And A, we know A is a 1-3-5 chord. It's spelled 1-3-5, right? So we know that it's spelled A, C sharp, and E, 1-3-5. And then you have 1-3-5 and a 1. So there it is. The root chord, an A major, and we have all the notes of the A major in there. So now we know that this progression works in the Mixolydian mode. Now, you can look at other chords, for example, like a D. D is the 4 chord, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you have a D, an A, another D, and an F sharp, and an A. So all those notes are present, right? D, A, F sharp. Because the D chord is spelled D, F sharp, and A, 1-3-5. So that chord would work as well. And that's basically how it works. So we could actually put a progression together like that. You can change anything, right? Put them in any order as long as you create a rhythm that works and sounds like it resolves well. You are going to have a great progression over which you can play the Mixolydian mode, okay? So that's why this progression works. The E minor 7, the B minor 7, and the A. Because each of those 3 chords is made up of notes in the Mixolydian mode in the key of A. Since we have established that this is in a major key, the scale must also be major. And the Mixolydian mode is a major scale because it has a natural 3. In the key of A, that natural 3 is a C sharp. And so, too, with the pentatonics, we go to the pentatonic major, which is what you're looking at up on the left-hand corner of the screen. So your fingering is pretty straightforward. You start at the 4th fret with your first finger, so it's going to play all the notes there. Your second finger plays everything at 5. Your third finger plays everything at 6, and your fourth finger plays everything at 7. You start with your second finger on the 6th string at 5. Go to your 4th finger. Then move to the 5th string at 4 with your first finger, 4th finger at 7. Duplicate that on the 4th string. On the 3rd string, your first finger at 4, and your 3rd finger at 6. Then on the 2nd string, your 2nd finger at 5, 4th finger at 7, and duplicate that on the 1st string. And then descending is quite literally in reverse. So go ahead and practice that for a moment. What you want to do now is you want to play the pentatonic major scale, first position, up and back over the progression. So like this, 3, 4. Up and back. Spend a couple minutes doing that. Listen to how it plays against each of the 4 chords. All right? And really focus. All right, let's get melodic here. First position of the pentatonic major. Do not go below or above. Stay focused, stay in the first position, and explore the possibilities and potentials. Something along these lines. 3, 4. And just keep going until you've got some really firm idea what it's about and what you can do, because that's the whole idea here. All right? 5 minutes or so. Then restart the video. In the upper left-hand corner, you'll see we've changed now to the first position of the Mixolydian mode. Notice the fingering, again, starts on the 4th fret, so your first finger covers everything on 4, your second finger everything on 5, your third finger everything on 6, your 4th finger everything on 7. And that holds true for most of the scale. There is a shift, and we will cover that in just a moment. So we start on the 6th string with your second finger at 5, and then your 4th finger at 7. We go to the 5th string with your first finger at 4, second finger at 5, 4th finger at 7. Now we do the exact same fingering on the exact same frets on the 4th string. First finger at 4, second finger at 5, 4th finger at 7. On the 3rd string, your first finger's at 4, but now your 3rd finger is at 6. Your 4th finger is at 7. And now we're going to make the shift. First finger up to the 5th fret of the 2nd string. 3rd finger at 7, 4th finger at 8, 1st finger at the 5th fret on the 1st string. And then you can play the 7th fret with your 3rd finger because you have a B over here on the 6th string. Now, descending is just exactly the same backwards. 3 and 1 at 7 and 5 on the 1st string, your 4th finger at 8 on the 2nd string, 3rd finger at 7, 1st finger at 5. Now on the 3rd string, you're going to shift back to your 4th finger being on the 7th fret, 3rd finger at 6, 1st finger at 4, 4th finger at 7 on the 4th string, 2nd finger at 5, 1st finger at 4, 5th string is exactly the same, 4 at 7, 2 at 5, 1 at 4, on the 6th string, 4th finger at 7, 2nd finger at 5. Pause the video, practice that for a few minutes, get comfortable making the shift and getting your fingering down correctly. All right? Now we want to practice the Mixolydian first position up and back over the progression. Now, as you can hear already, having played this a little bit, we've added 2 notes to the pentatonic major scale structure. We've added a D and a G here and here. So you'll be pleasantly surprised how those 2 notes really open up the sonic palette. So here's what you want to do. 3, 4. So even just the 2 times I ran it up and the 1 time back, you could hear the difference. Much more pleasant sounding, and also revealing a lot more potentials as well. So run this scale up and back for a couple of minutes, not just once or twice, but a few times, 4, 5, 6 times or more, to really listen to what's going on. Time to get melodic with the first position of the Mixolydian mode. Stay put, don't go below, don't go above, stay in the first position and really explore the potentials. Something along these lines. 3, 4. And you just keep going on and on. Really dive into what this position of the scale can give you, can reveal to you. The longer you stay here, the more it will reveal. And that's the whole idea. Really explore the positions of a scale so that you can understand their potentials. So, 10 minutes, have fun with this. Really dig into it. Let's move to the second position of the pentatonic major scale. So, fingering starts with your first finger at 7, second finger at 8, third finger at 9, fourth finger at 10. We have 2 shifts that take place, ascending, and 2 shifts descending. We're going to walk you through that. So you start on the 6th string with your first finger at 7 and your third finger at 9. Move over to the 5th string, first finger at 7, third finger at 9. 4th string, first finger at 7, first shift now, 4th finger at 9. So that your first finger can comfortably reach to the 3rd string at the 6th fret and your 4th finger at 9. Here's your second shift back to the 7th fret on the 2nd string with your first finger, 4th finger at 10, first finger at 7 on the 1st string, 3rd finger at 9. Descending is exactly the same thing in reverse. We start with the 3rd finger at 9 on the 1st string, first finger at 7, 4th finger at 10 on the 2nd string, first finger at 7, your first shift, 4th finger at 9 on the 3rd string, first finger at 6, 4th finger at 9 on the 4th string, your second shift, first finger at 7 on the 4th string, 3rd finger at 9 on the 5th string, first finger at 7, 3rd finger at 9 on the 6th string, first finger at 7. Now, it's key in practicing this second position that you hit the root tone, that open circle, a few times to keep you rooted in the key of A and in the pentatonic major scale, also in the key of A. So, like this. This way you will hear only the pentatonic major scale and in the key that you're playing it, which in this case is A. So pause, practice this for a couple of minutes, and remember, tap the root tone a couple of times. All right, I'm going to condense things a little bit here for expediency. You want to take the second position of the pentatonic major scale and run it back and forth over the progression. Listen to how it sounds. 3, 4. The object here is to listen. Now, when you are running it over the progression, you don't need to tap the roots because the key is already being established in the rhythm. After you've done that for a couple minutes, the next thing you want to do is now play melodically over the top of the progression, exclusively in the second position of the scale. Do not go below or above. 3, 4. Playing up and back and really exploring what it has to offer. All right, so spend around 5 minutes or so doing just that alone, playing melodically over the top. All right, then when you're ready to continue, press play. Let's look at the second position of the Mixolydian mode in this situation. So again, we're at 7 with 1, 8 with 2, 9 with 3, and 10 with 4. That's our starting position. We have a couple of shifts that take place here, just as with the pentatonic major. Let's walk through it. So you start on the 6th string with your first finger at 7, then third finger at 9, 4th finger at 10. Repeat the exact same motion on the 5th string and the same frets and fingers. 1, 3, 4. On the 4th string, first finger at 7. Here's your first shift, 4th finger at 9. First finger at 6 on the 3rd string. And then we have second finger at 7. 4th finger at 9. Second shift, moving back up to the 7th fret on the 2nd string with your first finger. And then we have your second finger at 8 and your 4th finger at 10. And then your first finger at 7 on the first string. Now, because you have 9 and 10 on the 6th string, you can play them on the 1st string. All right, practice that. And then when you want to do the descending, it's literally in reverse. 10th fret on the 1st string with your 4th finger, 3rd finger at 9, 1st finger at 7, 2nd string, your 4th finger at 10, 2nd finger at 8, 1st finger at 7, your first shift, 4th finger at 9 on the 3rd string, 2nd finger at 7, 1st finger at 6, fourth finger at 9 on the 4th string, second shift, first finger at 7, fourth finger at 10 on the 5th string, third finger at 9, first finger at 7, and then the exact same fingering and frets on the 6th string, fourth finger at 10, 3 at 9, and first finger at 7. So you'll notice I tapped the A root to keep myself centered in the key of A and the Mixolydian mode itself. So pause and practice this for a couple of minutes. If you need to rewind to watch what I did, I know I went through it a little quickly, go ahead and do that and get it down. And then press play when you're ready to continue. Yeah, you know what's next. We're going to run the scale up and back. You don't need to tap the roots when you're playing over the progression. So listen to how it sounds over the top of the chords, and you'll hear some very cool stuff. 3, 4. Just run it up and back for a couple of minutes. And then, for expediency, the next thing you want to do is play melodically. All right? You got to get your fingers used to what you're doing before you start playing melodically, understanding what the second position of the Mixolydian mode requires of you. Then you can move into playing melodically, something along these lines. 3, 4. All kinds of stuff possible there. I barely scratched the surface of the potential, and that's what you want to do, spending around 10 or more minutes really mining the second position. Do not gloss over this process. Learning each of the 5 positions of the scale is critical, and really understanding each of the 5 positions gets you to the sublime stuff that you're looking for. So don't gloss over this. Take the time. Really learn this. All right? You now have a good foundation to continue your exploration into the Mixolydian mode. You have the 3rd, 4th, and 5th positions, and then the octave position of the mode yet to explore. If you want the full study for this, go over to patreon.com, Outsmart Your Guitar, and subscribe at the Backstage Pass level, and you will gain access to the written material for this lesson and a whole lot of other lessons as well. It's valuable information you want and need, because when you learn something, things about what you've learned can be taken over here and applied elsewhere. And that in itself begins to open up new vistas, new doors, new paths, and so more exploration. The more you explore, the more you discover. The more you discover, the more you want to keep digging and get more, because more is what this is all about. This is why I do this, to help you understand you want more. Pursue more, and the rewards are worth the effort. All right, so that'll do for this lesson. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you listening to me and letting me be your teacher here. I got lots more in store. So when that happens, we'll see you there.